it's Karen Burniston here with an assembly video for one of our die sets. This is die number 1079, the Oval Frames Pop-Up, and you can check out all of our die designs at karenburniston.com. The Oval Frames Pop-Up is built in a side fold card and then creates 4 pop-up ovals where you can make some kind of cool scene. It is completely generic, so you'll be able to use this year-round for any occasion. In addition to choosing your theme, you get to choose your assembly because the oval frames can be installed as a drop-down, which is what we will do today. That means it drops down from the upper corner of the card, and this is particularly good for when you want to display it standing on the table. It just makes a really nice viewing angle that way. But you also have the option, as I'll show on this card by Kelly Booth, to have your ovals lift up inside the card, which means they pop up from the lower corner. A lift-up assembly is probably going to display best leaned back a little bit for that better viewing angle, or even in somebody's hands as they open it. You would also choose a lift-up assembly if you wanted to have those ovals pop up and out of the card as you opened it, as you see here on this Easter card by Sandy Diller. The card I'm making today does have that drop-down assembly, but I will show how to do the lift-up as well. The set comes with 11 individual dies, and I'm going to need the biggest one, which is the pop-up, then the oval frames, and the largest decorator oval. You can use any die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer-thin die, and today I am using a Sizzix Big Shot. And then I do need 2 of the decorator ovals, so I'll run back through with that die to get the second one. That is a big open die, so you could cut through 2 layers at once if you prefer. When your die is new, it is most likely going to leave the paper in those little slots, so your first step would just be to remove that paper. When you're first learning this die, it's a great idea to take a pen or pencil and just mark a line next to those inside parts of the triangles. Folding this piece is actually quite easy. There is a center fold, so you fold up the middle. I like to do that one as a mountain fold, which means I'm folding away from myself. I can easily see the diagonal fold, and that one should be folded in both directions. So I fold it one way and pinch it, and then fold the other way and pinch it, and then everything goes back out to flat again. Opening the piece back up again, I now want to reverse the fold between the center ovals so that all of the ovals themselves are going to fold inward like a card, but the section below those diagonal folds is going to go downwards. So see, we're reversing that upper part of the fold so that the ovals collapse inward. And then there is another set of diagonal folds. It's next to the triangles on the bottom. Those should both fold as mountain folds so that the triangles kick underneath the piece. This is the popped up position, and then when you want to collapse it down, just grab the 2 triangles and just bring everything down flat again. You'll be able to see that line you drew on those triangles. So this is ready to install inside a card. Now you choose your card size. So for today's card, I've decided on a square 5x5 card. I've added a couple panels of pattern paper to it. And you do have the option to install the Oval Frames Pop-Up inside an A2 card. That's probably about your minimum size though. So it's the edge of the triangle where the line is that goes into the center fold of the card, and it can go anywhere as long as the ovals stay hidden. Now if they're shooting diagonally down, that means that you're doing a lift-up assembly. So as you open the card, those ovals will lift up into the card. That's the way you would do it if you wanted to lift them up and out of the card. You would just slide those triangles up until you stay within the card in the closed position, and then as it opens, those ovals will pop up and out of the card. So there is no difference in how you put this in the card in terms of the small triangle. It's always that short edge that goes against the fold of the card, not the long edge, the short edge. The decision you have to make is, as you install that short edge in the fold, am I having my ovals go down towards the bottom corner, which means a lift up, or I flip this over and now I have my ovals going up towards the upper corner, and that's a drop down. So in a drop down assembly, as you open the card, those ovals are going to drop down like this. So it's very similar in how it looks when the card is open. The only difference is when it is displayed, because when it's a drop down, the gravity of the piece is going to put it into that really nice natural viewing position if you're planning on standing the card up on the table. Whereas the lift up has a little bit more of that sort of wow factor, and especially if you have it pop up and out of the card. So there's no right or wrong here. It really just comes down to preference. So I've decided on the drop down, and it is the small triangle that gets attached inside the card. So lining up that short edge inside the fold of the card, I'll add my strong adhesive. I'm using my Lineco Neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle, and we do sell both of those items on our website. You could just as easily use a very strong tape. Now I'm going to flip this piece over and open it up. That gives me access to the other small triangle. And notice that I chose a position where the outer oval stays within the card when the card is closed. So that's really my only consideration, is I have to choose a location where those ovals stay hidden and that edge of that triangle is right in the fold of the card. Since I used glue, I'm going to open my card slowly so that those triangles don't just pop right back off again. In fact, I can even kind of push against the fold as I open it to really get that pop-up to come up into that nice position. And then another thing you can do if you really want to make sure that your triangles are secured nicely is you can even just keep pushing, flatten this down completely, and give those triangles a good press. Okay, I am satisfied with that being connected, and now you can see that that pop-up is going to start working. So as I open the card, it will drop down. My next step is to add the individual ovals to fill in the middle part of the pop-up. So to do that, I just need to add my glue or strong adhesive all over all these flat parts of an inner oval. And that pop-up oval is designed to perfectly fit this decorator oval, making for easy alignment because you just use the bottom edge where it's curved and make sure that the decorator oval fits it perfectly. So if you concentrate mainly on getting the bottom part aligned perfectly, it should align the sides for you, which means you still have access to your slot on the one side and that you're not over the top of the fold in the center. So just pay attention to that bottom edge and make sure that those curves match up perfectly. And then as a secondary check, just make sure that you're not covering your slots and that you're not overlapping the center fold with that decorator oval. So in addition to this die set being very generic, it also has quite a bit of versatility in how you decorate it. So you always have choices. We're going to put the oval frames on in just a second here, but I just wanted to show real quick, this is a nice pop-up even without the frames going over the top. Maybe you just want a 4-panel oval pop-up that doesn't have the frames. You could just start decorating. But for today's card, I am going to add the frames, and that's this piece, and it's been scored in one location, which is right up the middle. Now you do have to add a couple more folds, and they're your choice. You need to fold in one tab on each side, and you get to choose which side. It might make a difference in what's easier for you based on if you're right-handed or left-handed. So just fold in one tab so that you can hook the other tab through the slot, then get the other side through and unfold it, and that will lock it into position underneath the piece. And then same thing on the other side. You hook the side that hasn't been folded, then you get the other half of the tab through, and then underneath the piece you reach in there and unfold that tab, and that will lock those frames into position. And once those tabs are locked, your pop-up will start working. You have to do nothing else to those tabs. You don't have to glue them down or anything. The tabs will just keep it locked. And now my oval frames pop-up is ready for decorating. And actually, because I chose a paper that has no direction, I could change my mind. I could flip the card over and decorate it as that lift-up assembly if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but I could. So maybe the first time you use your die set, you'll want to just choose papers that have no direction. That'll give you a good opportunity to look at it both ways and decide which way you like it best. The next size down oval is the one that I like to use for building my scene, and then I usually just build that off of the pop-up. So I'll cut 4 of those. It's a nice big open die, so I'll be able to cut 2 at a time. And the other reason I like to use that size oval is because the decorator pieces are sized to fit it. So you get 2 matching identical grass pieces in the set. And the rounded edge of those grass pieces fits that decorator oval perfectly. Another choice you have would be this one that I like to call the rolling hills. It's on one die, but it cuts 2 pieces at one time. And I'm rolling through 2 layers so that I will actually get 4 pieces at one time. So this edge also has that rounded edge that perfectly fits the decorator oval. And then if you alternate the pieces, you'll basically get a rolling hill that goes all the way through the scene. And if you can't decide which one you like best, you can also combine them. So for today's card, I will put the grass behind the rolling hills and then use both together on each piece. Another decorator die that comes doubled in the set is that thin decorative frame. You'll probably be cutting just through one layer on this die because of its decorative press dots, so by giving you 2 identical dies, that gets you to 4 much faster. The inside oval is another great decorator die, and then the frame itself is sized to fit around that decorator oval perfectly, as well as to fit around the pop-up oval perfectly. And then the last 2 decorator dies in the set are the heart tree. So you've got a little tree trunk die, and then you've got a piece that cuts a whole series of connected hearts, glue the tree trunk over the hearts, and you've got that cute heart tree. And obviously that is optional as well as independent decoration. So you can use it on the pop-up, you can also use it off the pop-up. So the decorator pieces that come in each pop-up really are universal. You can use them across all your other cards. For instance, this little butterfly charm from the charm accordion worked perfectly to add some sparkly butterflies to my hello scene. The hello itself came from word set 1. And I chose to make this a hello card, but I could see other greetings that would work well with this combination, including maybe Mother's Day or even sympathy. If you don't have an individual little heart die in your collection, you could take your scissors and snip out the hearts from the heart tree to use those individually. And to decorate the top of my card, I also just used the decorative frame, snipping it in half as well so that it became a garland. My favorite way to do card fronts is just to repeat the elements from the inside of the card as a simple lead-in, and the only thing I added here was I did use one of our crosshatch rectangles. When I make square cards, I will often choose that 5x5 size because it fits so nicely in an A7 rectangular envelope, and then you can mail it for no additional postage. So my concept was that you would peer through those pop-up oval frames into a scene that's created in the background. But of course you have all those decorator ovals, so if you wanted to make the pop-up oval frame solid, you could do that. Or another option is just to attach items kind of spanning over the pop-up oval frames. That's what I did here on the packaging sample. I've got one of the spring animals, the little bunny, spanned over the opening for one of the frames. And that packaging sample is a 4.5x6 card. And let's take a look at a bunch of very inspiring cards made by our design team. Here's a happy anniversary card by Karen Aiken, and I love that combination of craft and red and white. Kelly Booth made this soft and pretty baby card. She used our baby charms, and all of the charm sets fit the oval frames pop-up really well. Our animal sets also fit the oval frames pop-up, and Karen Aiken made this adorable Valentine using our owl. I love how Fran Sabad used the heart tree in all 4 seasons. Lois Bach used the decorator pieces from our ice cream sundae pop-up, and here notice that she did do the solid ovals on the 2 pop-up frames. Another example of adding solid ovals to the pop-up frames, this one by Summerhill's Painter in an Easter theme. I love how Frances Byrne on this Easter card added little eggs to the heart tree instead. And then the colors in Fran Sabad's Easter version are just so soft and pretty. Speaking of soft and pretty, here is a beautiful Easter card by Helen Cryer. Irene Mendez shows the oval frames in a tag-shaped card. Lois Bach used our Tiny Accessories 2 set to make our animals into superheroes. Now this is a great alternate idea by Karen Aiken where she chopped off the outer 2 ovals and just used the mechanism for a big butterfly. And then this brilliant and fun card by Karen Aiken where she decorated the oval frames as a monkey wearing glasses. And then finally a beautiful and elegant card by Shelley Hickox where she used the heart tree as branches. The Oval Frames pop-up die set will be available on our website as well as a lot of your favorite online and local retailers starting the very end of January 2019. Thanks for watching. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com where you can find out information about purchasing these dies as well as links to all my other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.